Good. So just feeling free to take your hip circles as many times in as many directions. You change the direction as often as you wish. You don't have to do, the timing is not needing to be the same as mine. And I like to hold my back. Sometimes feels like nice support. Sometimes people like to just have their arms loose at their sides. So starting to warm and loosen the muscles of the back. I was going to say the bustles of the back. We are bustling sometimes. So I'm changing directions a couple of times instead of just once. Getting a nice, juicy experience of the joints. Inhaling forward, exhale around and back. You could do these seated if you want. So check in with yourself if your energy is high, low, or so-so. You get to customize. Good. And then letting the hips just sort of spiral to center. Come back to a pause. And make sure you have your things. Do you have water? Do you have chapstick? Whatever it is you like during your yoga. Make sure you have what makes you feel comfortable. I'm seeing my water here. I'm going to take a sip. Good. Let's take the shoulders in a circle. I made myself tea this morning and put it in a little thermos. So nice. A little stainless steel thermos. Inhale, the shoulders come up. That's a kind of nice self-care. It's just to have some peppermint tea. Inhaling up. Exhaling around and back. Make it nice and round. Your circles. Inhaling up. Exhaling around and back. Nice and curvy, nice and juicy. Feeling all those different positions as you go around. Inhaling and exhaling the shoulders. Good. And then let's change direction. Inhale, the shoulders come up and down and around. Other direction. Good. Letting yourself feel the feet on the mat, on the earth, in your body. Sending your mind down to the feet. Inhaling, they come up. Exhale around and down. Nice breath and movement. And that's it. That's the meditation. It's breath on the movement. And you don't have to read a book to know how to do it. You just do what we're doing, and that's enough. Good. And let's choose an exhale on one of these next rotations to let the shoulders come down, stay nice and low and relaxed. Good. And let's draw the shoulders up and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Slowly let the shoulders come down back to a resting position. Let them go. And then like Diane says, and then really let it go. It takes some time. Good. And then draw the shoulders up and go squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. This one's good for our immunity. I like to throw it in. We have all these lymph nodes in the neck area, and we're just giving it the squeeze and soak method. So they might be getting achy, your shoulders, and you slowly let them down. Mr. Iyengar calls that the squeeze and soak method of cleansing the body organs, and in this case, the lymph nodes. It just sort of wrings out the washcloth, and then as you take the pressure off, all the nutrients and fluids flush that area and replenish. Yeah, inhale, up come the shoulders. One more time until they get just a little achy. You listen to your own body. And then on an audible side, let it all out at once. And then really let it go. Let the shoulder blades slide down the back like barges. And down the middle back. Down the backs of the legs. Down to the heels. I have all these kooky ideas from my dance teacher. That's where the barges are coming down from our shoulders down to our feet. So you got to just get your Berkeley mind on and go with it. Good. Let's take our swishes back. Inhale forward, exhale back. Alternate which hand is on the top. Inhale forward, exhale back. Swish away whatever you no longer need. Oh, so nice to just do a little yoga. Zoom's kind of cool. At least the commute is good, right? Inhale forward, exhale back. And I always have one little corner of my living room that's fairly tidy, which is a first. So we've got that going for us. Or you can just turn your camera off and not worry about such things. And just relax. Good. Let the arms come parallel. Inhale forward. Exhale, they come back. Swish it away. Swish away the clouds. Or just play. If there's nothing you want to swish right now, you just let the arms swing and be nice and loose and relaxed. Good. And you let that come to a pause. Let's take our tassel twist. Let the arms be heavy and they tap the body as they wrap around. Starting small, there's no need to be getting a certain position happening. Starting small. And then as the back warms and loosens, you can notice how it might open up for you, the twist. If you don't know what else to do, meditate. I like that. Except I like to do this better. I like to move around just a little. And then we just let ourselves rock to a pause in the center. Let it go. Good. And then let's take the arms up. Inhale. Pause. And exhale. The hands come down through center. Centering breath. Good. Inhale. Arms come up. And pause. Exhaling, hands come down through the center. You can always do that in your day. That's nice. And then let's take our fists, clasp our hands at the webbing. And let's do our wrist rotations in that sort of figure eight. Get it nice and juicy in the wrists. And then see what it's like to try to find the other direction. It's like a tongue twister for your body. Good. Play with that a little bit. Good. And then I'm going to show you, there's something I found out, I learned from a yoga teacher. And what you do is you draw your backs of your hands across the small of your back. And then trace them up the front center line. And then something like this. Let me see if I can think of it. Oh yeah, you go up the back of the neck. Okay, so you start the backs of the hands at the sacrum, slide them up your front, and then the backs of the hands glide over the neck, and you let the arms go like this. And he called it a poof. So draw the hands to the small of the back, up the front of the body, around the back of the neck, and poof. This is our kind of Hollywood moment, taking that a few times in your own time. Poof. Getting yourself a little bit of nice tactile aid here, a lot of just good touch. Poof. One more. And open. Good. That one's a little bit playful, and also I believe it's tracing something beneficial. At least it feels fun, and if that's all it is, then I'll sign up for that. Good. Let's take the hands to the tops of the thighs. Exhaling. Glide the hands down, rest them on the thigh bones, not on the knees. Protect those knees. Get a long back, just reaching through the tailbone and out the front of the crown of the head, rather. Nice and long in the spine. Good, and then I'm going to micro bend the knees and roll back up. Good. And then let's take the hands up in an in-breath. And reach up. Good, and then exhale, the hands come back around behind the back and clasp. Inhale, extend the arms, knuckles toward the floor, and then just forward fold at the thigh crease, any amount. Just get a little opening in the chest here. A little forward bend, breathing into that. You can rest the hands at some point. You can keep them flexed here, extended, or you can rest the arms, keep them clasped, and rest the arms on the small of the back. And there's sometimes this wonderful flush in the upper back when you do that. Good, and then you just breathe into that letter L shape for a moment or two. Good. So nice. Good. And then re-exert that tension in the arms, bend the knees slightly, and roll back up. And unclasp the hands, let them come forward. Wiggle out the wrists. So look around, see if you have a block, if you have a yoga block, or if you have just a little seat or a chair nearby. Whatever you have, I'm going to do just a little forward fold and just take the legs wide. If you want, you can use a chair instead of a block. I'm going to use a block, but it really doesn't matter. Whatever you can find in your room. So I'm just going to take the hands, the feet slightly wide, and I'm going to take the heels slightly out, toes slightly in a little sort of gentle mini prasarita. And then just take the hands to the block. And you breathe into that. So I'm in this wide stance. I want you to be able to see. Wide stance and just breathing there. And you could use like a windowsill, you could use the bed, whatever you're near, just use it. Good breathing, couple more rounds of breath. Feeling your legs like pillars, real supportive of your whole body. Good, and then I'm gonna take the hands back to the waist area, to the hip area, and then just rise up with a relatively flat back if that works for your body. Or you can heel toe your feet back in and roll up, whichever is better for you today. Good, and then I'm going to take my feet wide again and folding forward on an exhale. I'm just going to come down any amount wherever I land. And it might be hands on the thighs. It could be hands on the shins. It could just be fold forward until your hands cup the top of your foot. Yeah. Again, heels slightly out, toes slightly in. And just come down in a gentle inversion here for a few rounds of breath. If your body's not wanting that far of a stretch right this second, grab your chair and just do this. Play with it. Inhale, exhale. Letting the head release. Getting an inversion, so nice. And listening to your body, if you have any sciatic pain today or something, the better choice would be to use the chair and, go easy on the forward bend. You could also rest your head on the chair, on a blanket or your forearms. Breathing here. A few more rounds of breath. Good, and then when you feel complete, you let yourself come halfway up, maybe to your chair or your block. Yeah, and then bring the hands to the hips, and then relatively straight back, you rise up. That's very Iyengar to come up with that straight back. If you want, you just skip that, heel toe yourself back to feet under hips, and then you bend the knees and roll up. Good. Let's cross our right elbow over the left. Touch the backs of the hands together. And I'm going to inhale and lift the elbows. Exhale, draw the hands away from my face. And then I just breathe into the echo space between the shoulder blades. Good, and then if you like, you can fold at the thigh crease any amount. Get a little stretch wherever you feel it in the back. If you were getting plenty of stretch without bending forward, stand back up. Breathe into that shape that you are. I haven't done this one for a little while. It feels so nice. Good. And then I'm pressing the feet into the earth. Let the arms sort of unfurl and release gently. Good. Inhaling and exhaling. Audible sighs, very welcome. Good. And let's take the second side. So this time left elbow over the right. Backs of the hands together. Or you can do, I like to show this. So I'm doing this because I have a shoulder issue and my shoulder's like a gentle feeling. But you can also put the palms of the hands together like angelfish and do that. So your choice. You can also just hold your forearm if that feels like a nice position. Play with your comfort zone. Good, so we inhale, draw the elbows up. Exhale, hands away from your face. Staying there is just perfect if you feel good there. Otherwise, we can fold forward at the thigh crease just a little bit if you want a little more stretch in the low back and upper back. Gravity sort of helps the cause here if it feels good. Breathing here. And if you're already on the floor in Supta Baddha Konasana, congratulations, do that. Inhaling and exhaling. Good, and then I just let that go, rolling on up. Good, maybe let's roll the shoulders a few times. And other direction with the shoulders. Good. And let's take the shoulder shake in Bhastrika. So I'm just going to take that dog pant through the nose and the shoulders go up and down. And on the exhale, it's the shoulders coming down. So it's like this. If you can, I don't know if you can hear. It's like this. You let it go for a couple rounds of breath. So this is a great breath for letting go of any tension that you no longer need. Let's take it one more time. And let it go. You don't want to do too many at once because you can get lightheaded. So you just do a few. And then just come back to normal breathing. Good. So let's start to come down toward the floor. What I want to do is come down into a squatting position if your body is okay with that. If your knees would prefer, you can just come down to a comfortable seat instead of the squat. Good, and I'm just going to take palms to the floor and I do the same Bhastrika breath here in this position. So dog pant through the nose. And you find that the breath, it just goes down into this delicious area where the kidneys are, the low back. So I'm on the ball of my feet, if you can see. Good, and then you let that go and just take a nice, easy belly breath. Good, and let's take the bellows breath, the Bhastrika, one more time. Good. Always listening to your knees before you listen to me, right? And then breathing in and out through just the normal breathing into the belly. Couple rounds. Wonderful. Yes, let's come to a seat. And let the legs extend because that's just what my body did. You listen to your body. You just do what the next thing that your body wants comes up and you're like, oh, let's do that. So let's take an inhale and the arms rise up. And then draw the navel toward the spine, round the back slightly and jump the horse over the traces and just fold forward any amount. We're not going far. Just let the hands rest on either side of the knees or the shins, just wherever you land, and just hinge at the thigh crease. Good. And then after that, we can let ourselves round. Draw the navel toward the spine to protect the low back. And you let the head just come down toward the knees. You could touch close to the toes if that's available, but it doesn't matter. Just let the hands be on the shins if that's where they land. In and out, we're breathing. Very nice. Couple more rounds of breath. Good, and then we're gonna rise back up. And this next pose I want to share as we start to make our way down to reclining on the floor. We'll start with this. I'm going to take one leg in and one leg out. So bending one knee, finding a bolster if you have one, or you could look for a pillow, or here's what I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the bolster, and then I'll give you an alternative. So what I'm going to do is turn the bolster slightly toward my straight leg, if you can see, and then I'm going to take a block, or it could be a pillow. It doesn't matter. Find what you've got. And I'm just going to fold forward and rest my forehead onto the block. I like to keep it tall, I like to do less so that I can really breathe into it. So I'm not pushing. So I just like to rest my forehead onto the block, onto the bolster here, and I breathe. If those props are not available at the moment, find your chair, drag that over, and just rest your forehead on your stacked forearms. Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful. Just grab whatever you can find that's of a certain height and that you can have a comfortable forward bend. Yeah, so try things out in the comfort of your own space. And we'll just fold forward and breathe for a few rounds of breath. And as you breathe and the back starts to open up for you, if it does, you can lower the block or the pillow. But that's only if you're bored and not feeling it. Just leave it where it is if you're happy. Breathing in, breathing out. So we'll be here for about 10 breaths. So find a place where you can stay for a while and be comfortable. Good. And then as you're ready, just starting to roll on up out of that pose, draw the navel toward the spine to protect the low back. Yeah, so that's sort of, I guess if I look at that pose, it looks like kind of a supported Janu Shirshasana. Good. So let's lengthen, extend the bent knee, draw the other one in. Take that bolster or a pillow or what, maybe a sofa cushion, grab it, and let that bolster sort of go along the line of your extended leg. And then finding your block or your other pillow to rest your head or your chair. And let's just fold forward and release into the props and breathe. Always feeling free to come out before I prompt you. And just breathing in what is a sustainable place to stay for just a while. Good, and then as you're ready, you start to draw the navel toward the spine and roll on up. I was just thinking that, if you're doing this with a partner or somebody else in the room, you could both, draw a couple chairs or even just scoot on up to the coffee table and rest your head on the coffee table with a pillow under your arms or something. You could really make it nice without much effort. Yeah? So let's put those aside. Let's take a bolster or a pillow and lay in our side bend. So I'm going to take my bolster horizontally on the mat. I'm going to take it over here actually. And I'm going to, you can take a blanket so that you have a little support under your head here, or you can use nothing, it doesn't matter. So you can just sit with your hip toward the long end of the bolster in this case. And then I'm just going to let my waist drape over that side bend. Take either a block or a blanket and place it under the head to help you decide what height feels good. Or you can just cradle the head in a blanket, kind of a softer approach. And you can also take a blanket and place it between the knees if you want support there. So find where you can happily stay for about 3 minutes. We're getting this wonderful stretch in the side body, which is not really I mean, it's just delicious that we can get it in this manner. Just laying over the cushions. So nice. Breathe here. You know, another way to get this, I guess you could do a triangle pose and things, but it's so delicious to get it on the floor, which is another option. So breathing here. Thinking of your mangoes and turquoise water somewhere. I saw a beautiful photo today of the turquoise waters near Okinawa in Japan. So you can travel in your imagination as you breathe. So I've got my head sort of resting on a folded up blanket that's also resting on the lower arm. So feeling free to improvise how to support the body in this side lying pose. Knees are slightly bent or kind of bent at somewhat of a right angle, I guess mine are. And if you yawn, it means you're releasing some tension that was in the body and has moved on through. So nice. A few more rounds of breath. And I just have my other arm resting on my upper hip. It could come down in front of you, wherever you feel balanced. Breathing in and out. Good. I keep yawning, which is a good sign that we're releasing into the support below us. Good. And then I'm going to deepen the breath, feeling free to linger here if it's just feeling like exactly what you wish you were doing right now. You can stay a little longer if you want. If you feel ready, you can sort of roll the navel toward the floor just slightly so that you can press the arms, press the hands into the floor and roll on up. Head is heavy and comes up last. Good. And then let's take second side. However you can find room to do that. So bring whatever props were between your knees or under your head along for the ride to the other side. So I take the center of my hip to that long side of the bolster and I just drape over it. Gather your blanket so that you've got something to support the head. Some people in this pose, I want to show you a variation, though we didn't do it on the other side yet, is you can get into this pose, yeah, into your side lying stretch. And then some people take a block and let their hand rest on it. So you get a little more stretch in the side. That's optional. It's all optional. I'm going to scooch back so you can see that better. Scooch is an official yoga term. Okay. So see what I'm saying? You can put the block up above at somewhat of an angle in front of you or wherever it feels right for you, and get a little extra spaciousness in the side body, and breathing there for a few rounds. And if you don't want the block thing, just let it go and rest your hand on your side. I hope you all are getting a chance to watch some comedies or something that's uplifting. It's nice to laugh. So the way I translate that quote, if you don't know what to do, meditate, is, if you don't know what to do, get into Maui. Get into your Maui pose and just take 5. Or you could do this pose. Just get into a pose where you can rest and breathe and create more space in the body and more space in the mind. And letting yawns just happen. A few more rounds of breath. Good. And then as you feel complete, or you may like to stay and linger, letting yourself do that if you wish. If you're ready to move, you just roll slightly forward so that your navel is pointing toward the floor. And then palms press into the floor as you roll on up to a seat. Head is heavy, comes up last. Good. So let's take a chest opener. Let's take our Setu Bandha. If you have you could use any pillow for this. So if you have a bolster, great. But if you have a pillow, just off the couch, you could set that up vertically on the mat. Yeah. So I'm going to demonstrate with a pillow just to let everyone know that you don't have to be all decked out with yoga props for this to work. Yeah. So I'm going to sit on the bottom third of the pillow or bolster. Yeah. Near the bottom of it, and roll down so that the top of the pillow is at the bottom tips of the shoulder blades where maybe a bra strap would go. So I'm going to roll back. And that means the tops of the shoulders, you have to scooch until the tops of the shoulders come toward the floor, but the shoulder blades are not flat on the floor. So there's this lift. There's a lift at C7, the big bone at the base of the neck is not touching the floor. Yeah, so we get this wonderful chest opener is what happens. This is Setu Bandha, supported bridge, feet on the floor, knees bent. And release into that. Good. And breathe here. This pose is good for the thyroid. It's good for the parathyroid. And it's uplifting for the chest and uplifting for the mood, therefore. And it's a wonderful counterbalance to all the folding forward we do in our lives. Breathing in, breathing out, release the jaws. Relax the throat. The tongue is long and easy in the mouth. Eye gaze is soft. Letting the ears float away from each other. And noticing where you might be resisting the bolster and where you can melt into it more and more. If your body is open to that right now, and if it's not open to that right now, you give your body permission to let go later down the way when it's ready. And if you notice the mind starting to story tell or wander, just anchoring back into the body with the breath. Send your mind to your feet, to your toes. And deepening your breath. Letting yourself stay as long as you wish if you're comfortable and content. And if you're ready to move, just rolling over to your side. And let the head rest onto your lower arm. Taking a couple breaths on your side, doing nothing but breathing. Good, and then letting the navel turn toward the floor so that you can press your palms of the hands into the floor and slowly roll on up, slow motion. And let's leave the pillow right where it is and let's do our Big Sur seal pose just for a few minutes. So I'm going to find your pillow. You may like to build it up with a blanket. I'm going to take a blanket and fold it long end to long end. I haven't said that phrase for a while. And place it over the pillow so you've got enough height. And then I'm going to come to the base of that pillow. And you may like to put maybe a flat block because I don't have such a high bolster here. But if you're using a bolster with a blanket on top, then you're set. So let's just let the hips, the top third of the thigh rests on the pillow, or the top 3 inches, not the top third. And then the chest is also supported by the pillow and the blanket here. And then you might rest the forehead on the flat block. If that's too high, just rest your head on your stacked palms. So Big Sur seal pose. We're getting a nice breath into the back body here. Good. So this helps you know that you can use blankets and stack those up too. You don't even need to have a pillow. So breathing here, breathing into the echo space between the shoulder blades. Let the legs be long behind you. And if you're resting your forehead on a block, you let the forehead rest on it and maybe press the block slightly away from you so that it's not pressing it all into the nose or pressuring it at all. Breathing into the kidneys and the low mid back. Replenishes the adrenal glands where it's our long-term energy. Breathing here. Couple more rounds. Good. And then as you're ready, starting to deepen the breath. Good. And as you are feeling complete, you either linger as you wish, or you can roll to the side off of the props. It's not far to roll. Or you can, if you like, press into hands and knees to come on out of the pose and take a couple cat cows if you wish. You can arch the back so that the tailbone tips up and the breastbone reaches forward. And then round the back like a Halloween cat. Draw the navel to the spine. Good. Arching. Inhale. And exhaling round the back. Arch. Inhale. Draw the breastbone forward. Tailbone is up. Good. And draw the navel to the spine, round the back. Halloween cat. Good. And a couple more rounds if you like, just in your own time, your own breath pace. Good. And then coming back to neutral. And let's take a look at a couple of options here. One idea is to come into your Maui pose. Another is to set up in a Stonehenge, which would be 2 blocks on their medium height, or 2 bolsters stacked on top of each other. So it looks like this. And then you just lay down in a sort of a fetal position with the hips toward that bolster. And you may like a blanket for under the head. So finding a little support for the head. And then you roll onto your back and let the legs rest over the Stonehenge setup. You could also just use a chair here, right? So it depends what you've got around, and you just sink into it, settle in, roll over like a bag of rice, and then just relax. So feel the hollow in the belly. You might like to cover up with a blanket. Find your eye pillow or draw a t-shirt over your eyes, whatever's within reach. So this is just lifting the legs over, the legs higher than the heart is relaxing for the body. So you may like the arms to be at your sides. You may like to let the left arm rest, or the left hand rest on the chest, and the right hand on the belly. If there's another pose you're really thirsty for, let yourself do that. So letting ourselves just breathe into this one, into all the corners of your body. Release the jaws. Relax the throat. And the tongue is long and easy, eye gaze soft. Letting the belly billow like a silk scarf. And draw the senses into the midbrain. Releasing into the support of the floor and the earth. More and more. And drawing the breath to the eyebrow center. Bringing your breath there. And deepening your breath. And starting to make small movements with the body. If you wish to stay, feeling free to stay as long as you wish, and just let the video finish out and you lay on the floor. If you like, you can maybe roll hands on wrists, feet on ankles, small movements with the body. If you want to get up, maybe yawn and sigh and stretch. Like you just woke up, and then just rolling. You can bring the feet to the bolster or the pillow or the chair, and then just roll onto your side. Rest the head onto the lower arm. Just breathe a couple breaths, doing nothing but breathing. Good, and as you're ready, press the hands into the earth. Head is coming up last as you come up to a seat. If you're coming up to a seat. And then just taking a moment to get used to sitting upright again. Good. And on the next inhalation, draw the hands away from yourself. Let the palms face up. Exhaling, palms together in front of the heart. And may we live like the lotus at home in the muddy waters, Namaste. Thank you, everyone. That's class. Same time, same
And
place next week.
it's Thanksgiving.
Right. It's Thanksgiving. Thank you, Mona.
So are you gonna have it?
So we'll wait. We'll see each other in 2 weeks then.
Yeah. Namaste.
Okay.
Happy
Namaste.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It was very
Yeah. Good to meet you in Carmel, and have a really nice evening, everyone, and have a really good week, and do good things, drink water, take care of yourself.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
You are very welcome. Ciao, ciao.